You know, for the past year or so, almost every single piece of content I've watched that is a new release, by the time I'm nearing the end, I'm already wondering what kind of stank face I can make to use for a catchy and annoying YouTube thumbnail. But The Bikeriders is the first movie in a long time that left me completely stumped, because this is quality cinema. Hi y'all, SnarkyJay cosplay here. As of the time of this video's recording, the new film The Bikeriders is set to release this weekend. I had the pleasure of being invited to an early screening this past Tuesday, and to be honest, expectations for The Bikeriders were incredibly low. I had seen very little of this movie in terms of marketing, and that's actually because this movie was one of those that got caught up in the writers' strikes that happened a year ago. This movie was supposed to release in December of 2023, and now we're getting it as a summer film for 2024. The cast is absolutely stacked. It stars Tom Hardy, Austin Butler. It has appearances by other great actors like Norman Reedus and the incomparable Michael Shannon. And perhaps my biggest surprise and the highlight of the film, which I'm going to get into a little bit later, is Judy Comer. I'm going to tell you exactly why in just a few minutes. Now, like I said, I didn't have high expectations for this film at all. The TV spots that I had seen for it really made it look like it wanted to be Sons of Anarchy, but wasn't. And to be honest, I tried watching Sons of Anarchy and just couldn't get into it. But this is actually an incredibly emotional, powerful, often funny, very well-told story. The Bikeriders is based on a book written by a photographer who traveled with a motorcycle club through the mid-60s and early 70s. It's all about his experiences and what he saw with the different members of this club. And before I continue, I want to give you guys my rating for this one. The Bikeriders gets a solid 8 out of 10, and I'm gonna tell you why right now. The way the story is told is incredibly clever for a feature-length film. It follows an almost mockumentary style, where it is presented sort of like a documentary. Every character feels very genuine to the person that they were playing, and they all have well-told motivations. To be honest, there is not one line of dialogue in this entire movie that feels like a one-liner, a cheap shot, or any of this other DEI, ESG bullshit that we're all complaining about all the time. This is a well-written movie. The plot itself moves incredibly well, and the fact that it's told sort of like a documentary gives a little more intrigue and gives them a little more leeway in how they tell the story, which I think makes it that much more entertaining to follow. My only complaint with this stylistic choice is that some aspects of the plot do feel a little rushed. There's some things that you probably wanted a little bit more of, some incidents in the film where you might have wanted a little more reaction time from the people involved, and you don't get because the story is constantly having to progress. But honestly, nothing ever feels rushed enough for me to complain about. Now, even though Austin Butler, who seems like he's never gonna recover from having played Elvis, and Tom Hardy, who I'm a huge fan of, even though they get top billing here, for me the highlight is none other than Judy Comer. Judy Comer plays your run-of-the-mill Midwestern woman, and the fact that she's not even American and pulls off that accent and attitude so perfectly, I was absolutely entranced with her from the moment she appeared on screen. She is absolutely phenomenal, and she's basically the driving point for the entire plot. It feels like most of the time you're watching what's going on in this film through her eyes. Austin Butler and the rest of the cast are also incredibly talented. Tom Hardy does deliver a brilliant performance. My only complaint from him is that his accent is just the slightest bit muddled. There was just something I wasn't buying from him, but his performance as the leader of this motorcycle club, Johnny, he does an absolutely phenomenal job with this role in being both kind of a trash bag of a human being, but also sort of empathetic. You really do feel that all the characters in this film are real people. This doesn't feel like some larger-than-life bullshit motorcycle club of superhero-esque guys on bikes. No, these feel like real people who had a real hobby and real relationships with each other, and it really is about the situations that they get into. Cinematically, I think this movie looks really great. One of the things that I don't like with new movies these days is that a lot of care isn't really taken into lighting. My dad and I actually had a conversation about this the other day, chalking it up to the fact that digital media doesn't exactly portray light in the same way that film did, so I feel feel like a lot of people take advantage of this and just light things very flatly. There are some scenes in this film that actually do take great care with lighting, and I really appreciated that. Honestly, this is a great film overall. It's really well written and nothing feels over the top. Nothing in this film is said or performed like you'll be able to buy a t-shirt or a mug showing it at the end of the film. It all feels very genuine, which I could honestly really appreciate. You really are just a witness to what's going on in these people's lives. You really feel like you're along for the ride. Pun intended. I think The Bikeriders is a very complete movie, and to be honest, I think the biggest thing working against it is that the marketing is really not pushing for this film enough. I see it bombing at the box office purely because there isn't enough marketing out there for it, and additionally, the marketing that is out there, at least what I've seen, paints it like something it isn't. If you walk into The Bikeriders expecting some big action flick with guys on choppers and guns and all that shit, you're going to be sorely disappointed. The Bikeriders is very much a human story. You are sitting there listening to somebody recount stories, and you are watching these stories unfold. There are larger than life events and some things that will have you genuinely in shock, but they're not portrayed in some bombastic manner that's going to paint this as the next thriller for the summer. This is a great film if you're willing to sit down and really enjoy it for what it is. I find that I'm never entirely satisfied by a lot of the things that I review because I'm not always in a Star Wars superhero mood. And The Bikeriders I found to be a very complete, very good movie. I genuinely only went to this screening because it happened to be on my mom's birthday and my mom loves movies. I went in expecting not to like it, admittedly. I was not walking in with an unbiased opinion, and the movie was good enough that it not only pleasantly surprised me, but it also made me really enjoy it. This is the kind of film that I feel we personally need a lot more of. We complain a lot about these agenda-pushing, DEI, ESG-driven pieces of shit that we don't want to watch anymore. The Bikeriders is not that. So if you want to watch a good movie, if you want these movies to continue being made, I 100% suggest that you go check out The Bikeriders in theaters. Like I said, I gave it a solid 8 out of 10, and that's all from me. I've been SnarkyJay. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. For more SnarkyJay, tune in on Twitch every Tuesday and Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. EST. You can also check out my Instagram, and if you'd like to support me, this channel, and my content creation, do check out and consider subscribing to my Patreon for exclusive photo shoot sets and content. I will add links to all of these in the description below, and let me know your thoughts on The Bikeriders in the comments below.